and I have the name of next year's show.
What is that?
It's called Shame or the Doomsday Machine.
Okay.
You can well imagine what it's about.
Now, as far as the theater goes, like your home-based theater, you have a huge lobby. And just recently, I was actually part of the show.
Yes.
You opened the lobby up and turned it into a sort of museum or gallery for visual artists.
Absolutely.
I had 3 of my sculptures on display in the lobby.
Yes, you did.
It was a wonderful, wonderful experience. So what gave you the idea to open up the theater to be a museum, and will you do this again?
Well, first of all, we actually have been a gallery for over 2 years. It was started by, believe it or not, playwrights who were also artists coming to me.
I'm like that.
Well, okay, then you're part of that. Coming to me and saying, Crystal, the set for this show was so wonderful. Why don't we start displaying the sets that are designed here? Because a lot of them are designed by artists. And then they came to me and said, listen, I have artwork that's sitting in my loft and I want to do it. And then, you know, the Halloween parade, Theater for the New Cities started it. And the way that happened was that Ralph Lee, who was my designer for the street theater for 5 years, came to me and said, I have these giant sculptures and puppets in my loft and I can't do anything with them. Why don't we have a parade and why don't you do it on Halloween, because that would be a good way for all the puppets to come alive. And I said, that's a great idea, and we went and did it. And of course we had a brass band that headed the parade. But
anybody that's watching that's not from New York, you have to check out the Village Halloween Parade. It happens on Halloween night, October 31st. I have marched in it in full costume several times. I've also been a puppeteer. It is the most fun, wonderful parade. It has a theme every year, but once the floats and the puppets go by, the theme kind of goes out the window, and as long as you're in costume, you can march in this parade. It's crazy, but it's fun, and it's all ages, and it's just the most wonderful. It really is a theatrical. It's like New York's version of Mardi Gras. Like
we don't run this parade anymore because it's gotten huge.
It's massive.
We started it.
It really is.
We ran it for its first 2 years, and it won its Obie, and then it became run by committee, and we moved to the East Village from the West. And now they're going up 6th Avenue. And
Still fun. It's fun, but it's busy, especially on weekends.
It's a wonderful, wonderful parade.
Now, if you so as far as the theater right now, are you going to be doing more gallery or artwork exhibitions inside the museum?
The Whitney Museum had somebody come down and see the space. This was a few years ago when we didn't have very much up, and he said, "This is a fabulous space for a gallery museum, and you've got to cover the walls." And so that's what we've started. Now that's new. In the past year, we've begun to have many artists, and because we have a huge space. It's about 80 feet deep.
And it's wonderful. It's a great place to show off work because there's just so many people coming, and it works because people that are coming to see shows end up seeing the art. People that are coming to see the art might get interested in the show because it's very affordable.
Absolutely.
So it's very mutually beneficial.
Absolutely. And we have discovered some wonderful artists and some wonderful art. And some of the artists have begun to be interested in working, on plays, designing. And, it's, what would you call that? Simpatico.
Yes. So what's coming up next for the theater that you would like to mention?
Well, we're about to open a new play by Charles Bush called The Confession of Lily Dare. We just finished the Thunderbird American Indian powwow and dance
they're
concert.
Wonderful. I've been to that a couple times. That's a good show.
That was fabulous. That finished Sunday. We have wonderful plays in there now. One Drop by Andrea Fulton, and Josh, the Black Babe Ruth by Michael Jones. These are plays that happen to be during Black History Month, but that's because the authors came to us and asked for this month.
Oh, yeah. Good timing.
It wasn't our idea to put them in them, but it was their idea, and we thought it was wonderful. So we have done, and as I said, we're very diverse. We look for fertile ground, and we look for new emerging writers.
Yes, and that's very important.
Writers whose work we can nurture and develop. So we don't do a writer just once. We'll do them 2 or 3 times.
As long as they have at least like what do you say, 5
They have
pieces?
the talent. Oh, yes.
As long as they have some work already
behind them, and they have the talent.
Yes.
And we feel the possible future. We push them towards mainstream playwriting, just as we, in the gallery, we take 20% of whatever is sold, which is a very low amount.
Yeah.
But that's because we really want these artists to succeed.
You're doing a wonderful service to all different types of artists, to playwrights, to visual artists, to performers. So I mean, I don't think that people realize how much Theater for the New City is owed for the culture of New York and all the wonderful things that you do, and you've fostered over the years. I mean, it really is an honor to speak to you and to know somebody who was involved with this wonderful organization, and then to have my art exhibit in the lobby.
Well, I come from a very radical and forward-looking family. My father was a journalist with a degree from Columbia, but he was a journalist. He was in Berlin in 1929 for the Herald Tribune. He was in Berlin in 1934 when the Nazis came in. He also was a poet, a published poet. My mother was one of the first women doctors in the United States.
Oh, wow.
And she came 3rd class from Russia in 1905 as a tiny little child. Her name is on the wall at Ellis Island.
Oh, lovely.
They were both were very poor when they came here. The American dream pushed them up, and they paid back to society what it had given to them. My mother treated many, many people without money, and my father gave away his work. So I come from that kind of a background, and I know what this country has done, and that's another reason why immigrants and the whole question of immigration now is so unsettling to me as an American. It is so unsettling and terrible. This is a terrible time. We are going to come out of it. We are, because we have a history of non-censorship, of open hearts.
Everything the theater stands for.
Everything. And that's why Theater for the New City is what it is.
Yeah, it's very special.
Because,
it's really, if you're ever in the area, it's definitely worth, I mean, even just stopping by to see it, because it really is a piece of history. It's a piece of theater history and New York history.
It is indeed.
The absolute beacon of the arts.
But we enjoy that.
Yeah.
We enjoy it. We love it. We feel that we're important in the world.
You are important. You definitely.
And we feel that at the end of our life, we will have no regrets.
Yeah.
No?
And hopefully it will keep going for many, many years
I think
to come.
so.
It's
I
wonderful.
don't see why not.
Really, it's going strong. Thank you so much for coming in today. It was such a pleasure to speak with you. I mean, that's an absolute honor.
Pleasure for me too.
Hopefully I'll have you back again one day, and we can talk about other things that are happening at theater, because there's always something new going on, right?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.